Hello, I'm Neil Quigley and welcome to the latest episode of my Blogcast. Hope you're good and you've had a nice couple of weeks. Mine have been pretty busy. My mum celebrated her 75th birthday last month, so as part of my present to her, I took her out for afternoon tea the other weekend. We went to Brown's in Beaconsfield, mainly because they are celiac accredited, which meant I could have a gluten-free afternoon tea and she could have the normal one, dead serve, both together individually, which was perfect. Also, I could drive us there and it's only about half an hour, 40 minutes from where she lives. So it all worked out fine. Had a very nice afternoon. We drifted over there for around about 2:30. I went a route that I'd not been for years, going through places I used to visit quite a lot as a teenager. So that was quite nice for a bit of a change. Parked in the car park, got in, booked ourselves in as I'd made a reservation. The staff there were fantastic, really nice, really friendly, showed us to our seats and didn't rush us at all. Let us peruse the menu. I'd already booked afternoon tea in advance, so they knew that we were coming and what we wanted. And they also knew there was one celiac there who needed the gluten-free menu. So that was great. We were just there chatting and relaxing. Then they took our tea order initially, and as we'd already ordered the afternoon teas, he said, yep, don't worry, we'll bring those along shortly. Just enjoy your tea. So we were there just nattering and having a good catch-up and chat and reminiscing about old times as well, which was lovely. I am lucky that I do see my mum quite often, but normally my sister's around, my dad's around, other members of the family are about. It's rare nowadays that we actually just get to spend time together, just the two of us. So that was really nice. And then the food turned up, both, of course, in individual deliveries to make sure the gluten-free stuff was kept separate from my mum's. Both looked very, very nice and very appetizing. We had slightly different things because I missed out on a few of the pastries and cakes and had them replaced by strawberries and cream and also a bit of salad with mayo dressing. But I did get some cakes, I did get a scone, and I did get lots of sandwiches with very tasty fillings. So we slowly munched our way through that while enjoying our tea. I also did treat my mum to a glass of champagne as well because, well, it was marking her 75th birthday and we were having a nice fun afternoon together. Once the food was finished, we ordered some more tea each. We were actually there for well over 2 hours in the end, which I think's quite good for some teas, some sandwiches and some cake. Had a lovely time and then I drove her home. But it was really nice. The gift I think that's the biggest we can give to members of family, particularly as they get older, is simply our time. Spending time together is better than any present, but it's also helped a lot if there are cakes, sandwiches and tea, I always find. I would definitely go back to Brown's in Beaconsfield and have their afternoon tea again. About 10 years ago now, I went with a mate one afternoon to see a play that had not long opened in London's West End. It had been a massive success at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and as a result had got a run in a theatre in London. I was tipped off about it by an actress friend of mine who said she had heard really good things about it and it was definitely worth seeing. We had a spare afternoon. We went to see it. The show in question is The Play That Goes Wrong from the Mischief Theatre Company. Now, we didn't really know what to expect. Other than hearing it was good, I didn't look at anything else about it, as I often don't when I go to the theatre. I like to be surprised and work out the story for myself. I don't want to give too much away, but it's very clever in that the play kind of starts before it starts, so it's worth getting to your seat a bit early, and you could even find yourself up on stage, part of the opening initial sort of preamble before the show starts properly. That afternoon, that is probably the most I've ever laughed in a theatre. I had such a fantastic time. Since then, I have followed the Mischief Theatre Company quite closely. In fact, I've been to see all of their productions since and found them all to be thoroughly entertaining. But The Play That Goes Wrong was the one that started it all off for me. It's having its 10th anniversary this year, and to celebrate that, they were giving away some very reasonable discounted tickets. tickets. I managed to get hold of a couple of those a few Saturdays ago and took Linda along to see the matinee because she had not seen it, although we did have a bit of drama ourselves on the way there. Ironically, on our way to see the play that goes wrong, our train went wrong and broke down, which meant we had to catch a later train than we were planning to, which meant we actually arrived in our seats at the theatre about 2 minutes before it started, cutting it a lot finer than we'd like to. I must say, seeing the show for the second time, it was equally as good. First time round, I saw it with the original writers and cast members who were amazing. The current cast are equally as good. I had forgotten how wrong everything goes. Just goes spectacularly and hilariously wrong. So good. If you've not seen it, it is still very much worth seeing. You will have a great time. So thoroughly enjoyed that. After the theatre, because we were in such a good mood, we had a dinner reservation booked for a bit later on at one of my celiac accredited friendly places of Prezzo, but we had some time to kill, and the theatre the show was at, the Duchess Theatre, is just off the Strand, and there is a hotel there called One the Aldwych, which houses the restaurant Indigo, which is a fully gluten and dairy free restaurant, but it's fine dining, it's lovely, very much a treat place. We hadn't booked in there for food, but as we were walking past, we thought, shall we go in the lounge bar in that hotel for a drink? So we did, and it was so good, so relaxed, so chilled. They found us a lovely seat together, actually away from everybody else, and we each had just one drink in there. Linda had a cocktail, and I had a very nice glass of a Reserva Rioja, which I enjoyed so much. Definitely somewhere I would go back to again. It kind of reminded us both that we do like a nice hotel bar, a very classy, well-decorated hotel lobby bar with some great drinks, always worth going to, and they're always busy enough, but they won't overfill them. So once we'd finished our drinks, we then headed off to Prezzo for our meal before heading home. We had a great day out, going to the theatre, having some drinks and some food, and we were still back by 10:30, which nowadays for me is perfect. Linda and I are both big fans of the theatre, so there are so many shows we want to go and see. Obviously, new shows come out all the time. It's difficult fitting them all in, and it can be quite expensive. So I will be honest, we do try to look around for bargains and deals. Something that was on our radar was The Duchess of Malfi, starring Jodie Whittaker. Linda managed to find some very reasonably priced preview tickets in the stalls for the week leading up to the official opening night. So obviously she snapped those up and we went to see the play. Now, it was not a play, again, I was familiar with. It's not a new play. It was first performed in the 1680s. In fact, although not written by Shakespeare, it was performed at the original Globe Theatre. This production is a bit newer, a bit modern, staged slightly different than the original plays would have been back in the 17th century. However, it was very good, very clever. It is a tragedy, but there are lots of laughs in it. In the first half in particular, few less in the second half, if I'm honest, but it is really good and well worth going to see if you get the chance. Jodie Whittaker is amazing as the Duchess. In fact, the whole cast are great. It's a cast who have got a lot of TV and film experience between them, so they're all amazing, but you do obviously recognise them for various roles. So we did have to do a bit of Googling on IMDb on the way back to remind ourselves where we'd seen all those actors before. But it was really good. Had a fantastic night out there at the theatre. Midweek this time, we managed to grab a Pizza Express, again, another celiac accredited restaurant, very quickly before we went. It was a really good production. Another one where I didn't really know the story, which is what I like. I like to see it unfold in front of me. But during the interval, Linda did ask me what I thought happened in the second half. Now, I didn't want to say it out loud in the theatre bar. in case I accidentally gave a spoiler away to anyone. But in my head, I thought what would happen, and what I predicted was 100% right. Although because I didn't say it out loud, Linda will not believe me that I predicted the outcome. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Another successful night out at the theatre. Mind you, I don't think I've ever had a bad night out at the theatre because I just love seeing live entertainment, and you can't really go too far wrong. It's just a great night out, I think. We did seem to be on some sort of mission to see how many shows we could see in a very short period of time. Last Friday, we went and saw an amateur production of Footloose in Radlett. The main reason being, Linda's cousin is a musician and he plays in a lot of orchestras for a lot of different productions in the Hertfordshire area predominantly. So we kind of went along mainly to support him because he was playing the keyboard in the orchestra for this one. This is yet another film I haven't seen but probably should have seen. Confession, I never watched the film Footloose. I was aware of it, and I am of course very aware who Kevin Bacon is. I thought I kind of roughly knew what the story was, but it turns out I was slightly out with what I thought. It was really good. It was on at the Radlett Centre, which was really nice space, nice room, and all the staff there and the people were so friendly as well. It had a really nice atmosphere to it, which was great. The show itself was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The leads in it were very good, I thought. They played their roles spectacularly well, including keeping to an American accent all the way through, which cannot be particularly easy, I would not have thought. There was a slight moment of drama stroke entertainment in the second half. The characters used the front part of the auditorium for one of the scenes, and as they ran past the orchestra, some of the orchestra were in the pit under the stage. There was one percussionist who was set up to the side of the pit. As one of the cast members came past, they caught one of his instruments and knocked it flying. So you could see for the next 5 minutes, the guy frantically tried to put it back together before it was needed. He was assisted by somebody else, and they got away with it, and it all worked perfectly well. Right at the end, I don't know if this is a piece of extra showing off what actually happened in the film, therefore keeping it true. Either way, it was very impressive. The actor who was playing the Kevin Bacon lead role of Wren, at the end for the encore, got thrown a guitar by the orchestra and went to the front of the stage to sing and play on the guitar Footloose, and we all had a good dance. You forget there are some absolutely fantastic songs in the film originally, but obviously they've transferred them across to the musical. Footloose, the title song from Kenny Loggins. Let's Hear It for the Boy, Denise Williams, another absolute corker of a song. And I didn't realise this song was in the film until I'd been to the musical, but Bonnie Tyler's Holding Out for a Hero is in there as well. So plenty of recognisable songs. I thought it was brilliantly done. Had a fantastic night there, and good to see Linda's cousin play as well. He came up and had a quick chat to us in the interval, which was fun, and we did manage to say goodbye to him quickly before we disappeared. But that meant we'd actually been to 3 different theatre shows in less than a week and enjoyed them all. Last Saturday, we were trying to work out what to do, well, Linda and I. We decided that maybe we'll avoid the theatre because obviously we've been to quite a few shows in quite a short space of time. We did talk about going out for a nice meal somewhere, but Linda suggested maybe we should go to a comedy night. Now, I love comedy. I've done a bit of stand-up comedy myself. I've done the Logan Murray comedy course, which is fantastic. Any excuse to watch comedy, I don't really need asking twice. We toyed with the idea of going to one of the comedy clubs in London. I just thought I'd also look around at all the theatres close to us in the area, just in case there was anything good on. As it turned out, Sarah Millican was playing at the St Albans Arena, which is not that far from where Linda lives. So I thought, oh, that would be good. I went onto the website, half expecting it to be sold out so close to time. But amazingly, there were, at this point, 3 seats. But they were 3 seats altogether. We only needed 2 seats, only 2 of us. So I tried to get those seats while they were available, but the website wouldn't let me buy them. because it said you couldn't buy them and leave a spare seat. So I kept trying, and then I looked the next day and the 2 seats I wanted had gone, leaving the spare one that I wasn't allowed to do when I was trying to buy them the night before. Now this made me want to go and see that show even more. I thought, well, that's not very fair. We wanted those tickets and they've gone. So I kept an eye on the website, and then suddenly on the Thursday night, as it happened, I was on the phone to Linda, and at this point we're still trying to work out what we were going to do. I went back on and noticed some more tickets had come available. So straight away, then and there, I bought us the 2 tickets to go and see the show. We got a taxi over to the theatre and we were picked up by a Tesla. It was the first time that I'd ever been in one of those makes of cars. Now, I got to the car first. I had absolutely no idea how to open the door. I kept searching for a door handle and I went to what I thought looked like a handle, but I couldn't find any way of lifting it up or getting in the car. So I was stood there for quite a time, probably looking like a complete idiot to the driver, when out of desperation, I suddenly thought, what happens if I press it? So I pressed what looked like the door handle and the thing opened, much to my surprise. We got in and got to the location. It had such a big screen on the dashboard. It's like a whole laptop in front of the driver, and he had the camera turned on in the front, so you could kind of see a vision of the car and what it could see, but you could also see the cars coming towards you, but kind of like in video game form. It was really weird. And then I was quite pleased that when we got to the location, Linda said she'd open her door and we'd get out that way. I kept quiet because I noticed she had the same problem as me, trying to work out where the door handle was, and eventually the driver had to tell her it was push button. I know I should have said something earlier, but it was quite fun seeing her face the same suffering I did, and I'll be honest, it made me feel a little bit better. Anyway, we made it to the venue. First time I'd been there. Again, similar to the night before. It was a similar setup to the Radlett one. Everybody was really nice, the staff and the other people seeing the show. We got there, got ourselves a drink. They did gluten-free lager there, which is always a bonus and gets a big tick in my book. Sat ourselves down. Sarah Millican comes on first and does a little bit of a kind of warm-up and sets things up. She then brought on her support act, who was Lou Conran. She was really good. And then Sarah comes back on and does a bit more, and then the interval. It was very well done. As we know, she is such a good comedian, really good live, really funny, puts on a very slick and well constructed show with kind of a very clever theme running through it, as all the best comedians do. Had a fantastic time. First time I've seen her live. I've seen her on all of the panel shows, watched lots of her live specials on various streaming platforms, but to see her live and do it in the flesh was brilliant. Again, would recommend going to see her live. And she does give out free badges at the end of the show, which I think is a nice touch. I won't say any more, just in case you are going to see the show, because she offers clues and ideas as to which badge you should choose. If you have been to one of Sarah Millican's shows, I will leave it up to you to guess which badge you think I might have picked up at the end. Another great night out. We got a taxi home and were home by 11 o'clock. I did watch both the England internationals recently. The Greece game was a particularly tough watch, although I did enjoy watching the Finland game a bit more. I was at my girlfriend's and her niece and nephews came over. 2 of them ended up watching the game with me, which was quite good fun. We were chatting about it as it went along. We did do score predictions before it started. Mine was way off, unfortunately, but one of them did get it absolutely spot on. Thankfully, I was sensible enough not to make any bets with her, unlike Jack Grealish when he bet Trent Alexander-Arnold £500 that he wouldn't score that free kick. Thankfully, I didn't do any of that, but it was quite good fun. I quite enjoyed watching it with the kids. I am now fully jabbed up for the winter as a paid-up member of the asthma and celiac clubs. I do get access to the flu jab and to the COVID jab. Both were absolutely fine for me this year. Both just gave me a slight ache in the arm. The injection went in. That was all. Nothing else. Maybe after the COVID jab on the day of having it, I felt a little bit tired, so went to bed a little bit earlier. But now I'm happy I've got a bit of extra protection as we head into autumn and winter, because I really haven't got time to be ill. I've got lots of theatre and comedy and sporting events to go to, not to mention concerts as we head into next year. I'm halfway through the dental procedure of having a crown fitted. I've had the first appointment where basically they remove most of the teeth and do all the drilling and tidy up what they need to. Then in the meantime, they just put a cap, a temporary cover over the tooth until they can order the crown that they've measured and then book you in for an appointment to actually fit it. As it happens, there's ended up being a month between those appointments, which is fine, no problem. But the cap came with a list of warnings from the dentist, like don't eat anything too crunchy, too hard, too sticky, otherwise it may well come out. She gave me a special brush to use to clean it. And doing that for a month is a bit tougher than you think. But I'm getting there. I'm halfway through. I'm determined to not knock it out and then keep everything as simple as possible so she can fit the crown and we can move on. I've gone for a white crown. There were a couple of options. The metal one was slightly cheaper, but I didn't fancy that. The gold one was the same price, but I don't really think I'm a gold tooth kind of guy, so I went with the white one. Keep it traditional. Just been on a 2-day spa break at a well-known hotel spa resort. I will tell you about that next time we speak. That's just about it for now. Just a reminder that you can hear my radio show Saturday afternoons between 2 and 4 at radio9springs.com. That is definitely it now. Look after yourselves and each other, please. Take care, have fun, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.